So, Dale, I know we've known each other for many years, but I know a lot of people don't know your story. So, I really want to make sure that we hear your story from, let's say, high school or college, all the way to how you got to where you are now.
Well, Jim. First of all, I've admired you. We ran the same entrepreneurial institute at Fairleigh Dickinson University, and you did a great job, and it was great to follow behind you. And so, my dad knew in March with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. as people have heard, and so I grew up around this environment of really caring for everybody, and believe it or not, that's aligned with my passion for business. I had a chance to go to Princeton undergrad and got a degree in economics, and then got an MBA in finance from the Wharton School of the University of Pennsylvania, and then a doctorate in Seton Hall. But all along the way, I spent 11 years at Deloitte Consulting. I was the first African American senior manager and focused on a wide range of things, but especially government operations and finance. So this comes with really good experience. After Wharton, I left to be the first and founding executive director of the Newark Alliance. Believe it or not, so I'm a senior manager at Deloitte, and so I leave to join a nonprofit. Actually, get paid higher because my bosses were Art Ryan, the CEO of Prudential, Tom Kaine, the former governor, and Ray Chambers, the billionaire that used to own the Nets and the Devils. And they started that organization. They did a search and picked me to look at education and economic development. I worked with Marion Bolden, the superintendent, Sharp James, the mayor, and the idea is to begin this revitalization of Newark. They're still around, and I think a lot of the groundwork that we laid has helped Newark become a better city. The current Mayor Baraka, has done an amazing job, and he's a partner and a supporter of Mikey and I in this campaign. And so that was a real good grounding. And then I always wanted to have senior level experience in the public, private, and nonprofit sectors. So I had the private sector with Deloitte. I had the nonprofit sector with the Newark Alliance. And then I became the deputy commissioner of the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs. And so I had a chance to really understand how government can work with nonprofits and businesses going forward. And that was a great experience. After that, I spent some time at Scholastic, but really entered all the while I was on the New Brunswick Board of Education. And so really loved education, and I had an opportunity to get on the board of the Centenary University, and wasn't gonna be a college president, but they were looking for a new college president, and they wanted someone with an entrepreneurial background who has education background, and so I joined Centenary University. 4 years ago, I was hired as a quarter-time pastor at Covenant United Methodist Church. So I've had a chance, Jim, to do a lot of different things. But all of those things kind of come together to really kind of make me ready to be lieutenant governor.
Fantastic. Okay, so now you have that entrepreneurship background, and obviously that's near and dear to my heart. But I've been asking all the candidates about what their preferences are for supporting startups or corporations. Different administrations have different focus areas, and I just wanted to get a sense from you. I think I know your answer, but I want to get a sense from you on what part of the business community is really an important focus of yours and the future administration?
Well, the reality, Jim, is obviously all parts of the business community are critically important. At a time when the Trump administration is taking out $5 billion out of our budget, taking money away from schools and other things, we've got to find revenue sources. We've got to find ways to kind of keep or reduce property taxes. We've got to find a way to fund all of our schools. We've got to find a way to make up for the $3.6 billion taken out of Medicaid and $3.3 billion taken away from our hospitals from the Trump administration, which the Schittarelli team is fully supportive of. So that's where I look at small businesses. I look at large businesses as the foundation. I personally like small businesses, and I connected to my dad's relationship with Dr. King, is that there's so much poverty in New Jersey and around the world, and we really look at. I started a program called Entrepreneur Zones, where you help to support the growth of small businesses, but do trauma-informed job training to create a higher level of employees. I really believe that those kinds of programs can really help the small business sector. Mikey's talked about saving time and money to do a dashboard for businesses so that as they work and with the state government. They know that where they are in the process, and they can become that much more successful. We want to make more millionaires throughout New Jersey, but we also want to help to grow and help larger businesses be successful.
Great. Now you mentioned the cuts, and that's a big, obviously, issue for the whole country, right? Cuts to education, the domino effect on research and development, even healthcare, science, and innovation. So, can you talk about how you view those cuts and what we can possibly do about those if you come into this new administration?
Well, a couple things. One, I've talked about kind of understanding operational efficiency. I had an opportunity in a previous administration years ago to actually, when I was at Deloitte, I was hired, or actually we volunteered to do a thorough review of the Department of Human Services and identified over $100 million of revenue opportunities. This isn't a Doge cutting, revenue opportunities. And Mikey and I have talked about this transparency and accountability in government. We really believe that there are real opportunities to improve efficiency, increase customer service, and save money by examining all of the departments in state government. So if you look at revenue sources from really growing the business sector, the small business sector, the large business sector, looking at operational efficiencies, doing shared services for schools, we can begin to make up as much of the revenue shortfall caused by the Trump and Chitterelli supported focus to really begin to turn New Jersey around and make it more affordable.
Got it. And I think you mentioned obviously shared services. I guess that would also be an area that you would consider just to cut costs and keep taxes low for the whole state. I know taxes have been rising. Obviously, we're a high cost state, and shared services have been sort of talked about as sort of a motivation to get those costs lower. How do you view that?
Well, again, I mean, we're the only candidates that have actually saved money through shared services or brought in money through the federal government. Mikey's brought in billions of dollars for the state of New Jersey. So I was president for 21 years of the Educational Services Commission of New Jersey. The ESCNJ is the largest special needs school district, but it's also the largest shared service organization in the state. Almost every municipality and every school district purchases through the ESCNJ shared services. That means when they're buying buses or they're buying paper or they're buying computers, we've saved more than a quarter over the last few years, more than $250 million just on the shared services. But our tuition costs are about half of what they are in other providers. If you look at that, school districts would save another $250 million with those kinds of programs. So I've actually done this within an organization. Also, I've done a lot of consulting with shared services between municipalities and school districts. So have a real sense of what can happen. And obviously, you and I have a great sense of what entrepreneurs can do if given access to capital and given the kind of support that they need.
Okay. One more question about education. The community colleges, funding levels, how do you view the community colleges, and will you maintain and increase those funding levels for those schools?
Well, again, obviously, this is an area that I know very well. Being the president of a small college and working very closely with community colleges, we have dual enrollment programs. We have obviously transfers to Centenary. We've also partnered with a group, the Ideal Institute of Technology, which is in Pleasantville, doing, get this, Jim, vocational programs where they're paying students to learn vocational activities. And so when you look at the importance of small and community colleges, and unfortunately, recently our funding has gone down. So when you begin to look at the role of those educational institutions in creating the next workforce, as you know, whether you're a large corporation or a small corporation, your number one goal is to get the best people you can. The best people are going to make money for you. And by aligning the higher education system with the educational needs of the employers, we can really make a big difference.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk about tariffs. Clearly, those are having an impact on our economy in the state, across the nation. Do you have any plans for fighting these tariffs as a way to attract more innovative companies and keep drug costs and other costs down in the state?
Well, first let me share a story, Jim, about tariffs. I was in Ocean County, traditionally Republican, talking. There was a fair talking to a business that makes T-shirts. It's over, I think, been around about 5 or 6 years, and they were saying that to have they had to buy a tent to, as they're showing their wares, and they said the tent normally costs $600, but the tariffs have brought it up to $1,300. I know Mikey was talking to a coffee shop that's paying an extra $4,000 or $5,000 a month because of tariffs. And yet Jack Ciattarelli supports the tariffs, which are killing small businesses. Really, Mikey is going to appoint an attorney general that's very strong, that's going to fight the Trump administration. We believe those tariffs are not only not appropriate, but they really can be unconstitutional and illegal for the Trump administration to do that without the full support. So we're going to fight that to the full extent of the law to protect small businesses and other businesses. And actually, large businesses are struggling as well. And guess what? They're putting the extra costs on the back of the customers. And so it is a disastrous policy. I believe Jack even said, well, New Jerseyans, because of the tariffs, have to experience some pain. And so we don't believe anybody needs to experience pain. We've got to fight the assault of the Trump administration on commerce, on business at every level.
Yeah, for sure. So, what about taxes in the state, right? We have the corporate transit fee, which is now part of increasing the cost of the CBT. How will the administration view that? Because, other states are cheaper, right? Right next door in Pennsylvania. Plus, we're competing with the southern states. How will the administration seek to lower taxes on businesses, both large and small?
Well, again, I mean, something that Mikey has come out very, very strong on eliminating the business registration fee on day one. Which may seem like a little thing, but that's a real big thing, and it also shows our commitment to helping small businesses. We're focused on lowering costs and providing tax relief to residents and businesses. So we need to really examine what can we do to make New Jersey more affordable for businesses. And so, also we're looking at alternative revenue sources to lower taxes. For example, transit, we're looking at transit-oriented development. There's a lot of land owned that's unused by transit. There's a lot of additional revenue that can come for that. And the amazing thing, Jim, is that all the advertising in New York subways, we're not doing it here. So they're really tens of millions of dollars, literally hundreds of millions of dollars that could come from really having a comprehensive relationship with business through advertising on our transit. And so we want to make sure that New Jersey is welcoming to businesses. We're also looking at some of the new technologies, that you and I were just talking. Bell Labs is in New Brunswick, and Princeton is taking a leadership position on AI. So part of what we're looking at are ways that the new technologies can help us grow the success of businesses in New Jersey, which will generate more tax revenue and make New Jersey less expensive for individuals and corporations.
Got it. What about another form of tax is sort of the administration dissuading immigrants, right, from coming to the country, or this immigrant crackdown, or the visa situation. And as you know, as I've maintained, and I think you have as well, this state is so great because of our immigrants and our immigrant talent. So what type of relationship do you expect to have with the administration on issues like immigration and visas, high-tech workers, et cetera?
And Jim, let's talk about the H-1B visa debacle. I mean, charging $100,000 for the H-1B visa is going to drive away high skilled individuals coming into the United States. That's been one of our secrets of success, is to really get some of the smartest people from parts of the world to come into New Jersey and other states. I understand China is actually making it easier for people to go there. So they're going to take many of the best and brightest of the world that we used to get to really help our businesses become successful. As you know, innovation is the key to success. In 2026, the more innovative companies, the more innovative small and large businesses, and that innovation comes from having the smartest people on your team. So it's important to really make sure that we are more open to involving some high skilled individuals. In fact, the Financial Times actually said that this H-1B visa is going to cost us $14 billion annually. And it's just ridiculous. It's unacceptable. It's unnecessary. So between tariffs, between these taxes on H-1B visas, between the money that's being added to our budget, this Trump administration has a direct assault, and the assault is clearly on blue states. The transit that they're stopping now because of the shutdown is only impacting New York and New Jersey, blue states. So there's a clear assault on this state. That's why I don't understand why Jack Ciattarelli would have any support at all for Trump, let alone complete support.
Got it. And now let's switch to, you mentioned this earlier about innovative programs like the Princeton led AI hub, right? The Helix in New Brunswick. The EDA has spawned dozens and dozens of programs over the past few years since the pandemic. Is your administration going to continue with those, expand those? What is your plan as far as all of those support programs that have been launched?
Well, there are certain programs that have been very strong, and I've gotten to know Tim Sullivan very, very well. Ty Cooper, I've known much of her life, and so EDA, we're strong supporters of EDA. EDA has been very successful. They've not had as much money as they've needed to really support a lot of the small businesses. They've had really, really well targeted programs, and so they have played and will continue to play a big role bringing businesses into New Jersey. ROI-NJ is very good internationally, looking at businesses. So this administration and Jim, I got to tell you, I'm not a lifelong politician, as you know, and as I look at things and I see the stereotyping out there. They see the stereotyping that well, Democrats do this and Republicans do that. Well, Mikey and I are Democrats that believe that business at all levels is critical to generating the revenue we need to address a lot of the other social issues. And so if you really look at our background, Mikey's a military hero, a prosecutor. She has tremendous leadership experience. I'm a Wharton MBA who has is at Deloitte and has entrepreneurial. You stereotypically you'd say our backgrounds are Republicans. We're running against a CPA and a sheriff. And so the Cheryl Caldwell administration is going to focus a lot on making sure that all people have the support they need to really get the income they need to really live the New Jersey dream, not just the American dream, the New Jersey dream, but business has to play an important role in that.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. We've had a great conversation here, Dale. Why don't you give us some parting thoughts? Make the case to voters out there as we conclude our conversation.
Well, as I said in the debate, I mean, the voters I'm finding are looking for people with experience, people with empathy, and people with ethics. And if you look at Mikey and my background, there's no question we have much more experience addressing the issues in New Jersey. Education, business, entrepreneurship, dealing with issues around veterans and other things. When it comes to empathy, my dad knew in March with Dr. King, and I mentioned again in the debates this idea of Ubuntu. I am because you are. We're intricately connected in the state. So if folks on Medicaid are losing billions of dollars because of Donald Trump that Jack supports, that impacts all of us. It impacts our business. It impacts our growth. As a pastor, the faith community is important. As an educator, the education community is important. So by supporting Mikey and I, by voting for Mikey, Cheryl, and Dale Caldwell, what you're getting is actually a team. This is a challenging time. A team that has the experience, that has the education, and has the ethics to put people first to really make New Jersey more affordable, but also be a model for the nation on how a state can really work together at all levels of society to really make sure that that the middle class continues to grow at a rate faster than most other places. So it's just an honor to be on your show, and it's just great to know you. And I'm looking forward to getting together at some point.
Sounds good. Dale, thank you so much for this conversation and good luck.
Thank you, Jim.